Hey family, it's me. Um, yeah, I got a new topic. Wearing my other shade of blue. Um, yeah, I'll start with this. So yeah, this is about hurricanes. This is about hurricane season and inspiration. Another Dane Calloway inspiration. He's done more than a few videos about how if slavery happened the way they told us, that how very difficult it would be for ships that were made of wood. They weren't like made of steel like, Royal Caribbean cruise lines is now. I may have to scratch that because I don't want them thinking I'm trying to endorse them. Okay, Carnival, Norwegian, I think Virgin got an adult-only cruise line now. Celebrity, I'm just going to say them all so nobody thinks I'm endorsing any one or the other. They're all made of steel, floatable steel. I don't remember what the Titanic was made of, but back then, 200, 300, 400 years ago, ships were made of wood. And he's done the research on how the Atlantic Ocean behaves. It moves in a certain current, and to try to sail an ocean against that current won't be a good trip for anybody involved. What does make sense is if ships kind of followed the current of the Atlantic, and if they went from Africa to South America, the Caribbean, the Atlantic coast of the US, over to Europe, back down to Africa. That pattern makes sense because it's safer for any ship, whether it's made of wood or steel. But check it. So all the videos that he has done, and I do appreciate his work, every time I watch one of those, I'm like, what about hurricane season? How come you're not talking about hurricane season, Dane? So I'm going to talk about hurricane season. Hurricane season is June through November. And that's not me. That's NOAA. That's, oh goodness. I'm sorry, I forgot the end. Maybe it's national, but I know it's Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration or Agency. So before people are like, well, what are about your sources? What are your sources? I'm an environmental scientist by degree. I worked for EPA, so I have an environmental background. My atmospheric experience is air pollution, not how do hurricanes behave. So yeah, NOAA is a sister agency of EPA. So no, I'm not like a marine biologist. I'm not oceanic. I'm not atmospheric in terms of weather. I'm atmospheric in terms of air pollution. You can ask me about that. But yeah, I forgot when I heard it, but I know that I've heard, and you can check their website. They probably got a hurricane thing banner or something up right now. But June through November is like the official hurricane season. Oh, look at the twin stroller. I know, I'm so distracted. Yeah, my baby needs a baby sister, and I'm looking at a twin stroller. Okay, but so like, and I've told people before, June through November is hurricane season. They're like, yeah, but how come they always seem to come in August and September and that's it? I don't know. What I do know is not every hurricane that forms in the Atlantic off the coast of Africa makes landfall anywhere, let alone landfall on the Atlantic coast of North America or the Gulf Coast of North America. I guess I do know, like, you never hear about hurricanes hitting South America. Like if some devastating hurricane hit the coast of Brazil and people couldn't go on vacation, they had to round up the wreck. We wouldn't know about it. We would hear about that. They don't hit South America. They have a pattern. And the pattern takes them north of Brazil. I'm watching my non-sleeping baby, so I'm going to be a little bit distracted like I was by the stroller. But got to keep him safe while I'm doing this. Yeah, so I don't know why we seem to get more landfall, continental US, Caribbean in August and September, but not June, July, October, November. You got to ask somebody from NOAA. Just ask them. But that's hurricane season. So given that, that means, if they're not making landfall on the US, they're still out in the ocean. That's the point. That's the main point. June through November, you've got hurricane systems, tropical depressions, tropical storms, out in the ocean. So that means you've only got half the year. Let's rewind back to, 300-400 years ago. You've only got half the year to get however many thousands of people over from Africa to present day US, or even, both the Americas, if you want to take it that far. So I did some math. I took some notes. I crunched some numbers for y'all. I did some math because I didn't want to be trying to do math in my head on the fly while keeping the baby safe and, trying to gather up all my thoughts. So I did it, let's see, 1619, that's the first documented landing of people from Africa brought here as slaves. We always go with 1619. And 1808 was the year that the transport of people from Africa for enslavement, that's the year that the U.S. banned it. Now, we know stuff happened after that to make up for not being able to transport. There was the smuggle ships. There was import from South America, the Caribbean, from the northern Atlantic states down to the southern states, and breeding farms. So I know people there are people in their feelings about 12 Years a Slave. I read the book. I was able to see, I'm like a film geek. I'm a film geek, and I heard Steve McQueen was going to be in town because he's an artist too. So it was like an Art Institute thing, and they showed Hunger, which I'd already seen. So I didn't go for that. I don't think I went for either film. I think I went just to see him. I think I saw both films, so I went for the interview. So they showed one of his films. I think they showed Hunger, and then there was an interview with him, and then they showed the other movie after. So some people did stay 6-7 hours. I just went for the interview. I knew that 12 Years a Slave was in pre-production. And it was there that I found out it was a book. It was an autobiography. So yeah, I was like, oh, it's a book. Let me go read it since I got to wait a year for the movie to come out. And then it's discussed in the book what kind of boat it was. But then when you see it depicted in the film, so there's that film, and then there's Amistad. And I think Amistad was supposed to be a 300-person cargo ship. But the one in 12 Years a Slave, and I'm bringing that one up because, one, it was a smuggle ship. The import of slaves had already been made illegal. So to keep the business going, people smuggled, they trafficked. They still smuggle and traffic today. They just do it differently. But if you've seen the film or read the book, it was only maybe a few dozen people on that boat. And it went from, I forgot where he was from. He might have been from Boston or New York, but he was Northeast. He had his own job. So it's like you kidnap people who were already quote unquote free and then smuggled them into enslavement in the South to make a quick buck. But, that's still happening today. But yeah, there were only a few dozen people. I would say maybe 50 people on that ship or boat. And I've been finding like more people are talking about this, but other people are like, that was more of the norm than boats coming across from Africa. So I did some more math, and so it assumes, I'm just gonna reiterate so I don't forget and leave it out. That's why I wrote the notes, because I didn't want to be making 2 or 3 videos. But like, that circular pattern makes sense, but that's not how we were told. We were told back and forth, straight across, which, if you take into account hurricane season, you only got 6 months a year to do that, which means one trip, because they told us it took 3 months to get over, which means it took another 3 months to get back there. And what do the Americas have that Africa needs 300 years ago? I can't think of anything. Tobacco, I'm sure they could grow their own tobacco and smoke whatever they smoke. But sugar, no, they got fruits and stuff. Yeah, we don't grow anything for them to take back there. Europe can use some stuff that we grow. But that means you're going to still take an empty ship from Europe back down to Africa. So I don't, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up the way we were told. The circular, I'm sorry. But I'm trying to make sense of it in my head as I'm speaking, and it doesn't make sense to me. But let's say, for the sake of whatever, whether it was circular or whether it was straight across. And then you have to assume that all the ships could have the capacity to carry 300 people. But just like the plantations, the 300 slave plantation was very rare. There weren't that many wealthy planters and slavers out there. Another caveat, because I'm a film geek. I don't just watch movies. I study what I'm hearing in the dialogue and the script. I'm surprised that Free State of Jones did not have more traction. When I watched it, I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but everyone was like obsessed with slave movies. So why didn't Free State of Jones have as much traction as, maybe 12 Years a Slave, the other movies that people complain about, during the Obama administration, where everybody was like praising movies that, like The Help, the one Forrest Whitaker did. But watch Free State of Jones and listen to Matthew McConaughey when he talks about how to get exempted from conscription, for Confederates to get exempted from conscription into the Civil War. A white man had to own 20 Negroes to be exempt. If he had 10, he had to go. And like a lot of the owners, and I'm not like excusing enslavement, I'm not, but I'm running the numbers. I'm a numbers girl. I'm a scientist. I'm a numbers girl. And one thing I do well is raise my baby and crunch numbers. That's 2 things I do well. And if most families had like one woman to do the cooking and the cleaning and one man to tend to the horses and any like handyman work, and they were usually a married couple, it's a married couple. Like it's not that different from what my grandfather did when he came up to work for that family in Highland Park. And, prayers to Highland Park. I did that video before the 4th of July. But really, like, I've got domestics in my family. My Auntie Lodi, she did laundry for whoever. Like, I've come from a lineage of women who were domestics. And not as many men, but like I said, my grandfather was a houseman. So like, it's common. People still have a woman working in the house to cook and clean and tend the babies. And maybe like a man who comes by and like fixes stuff and keeps the grass cut. And they might look a little different than we do now, but it's the same thing. And so if that was the norm then, that means the planters with the enslavers with the 300-person plantations, they could have 3, 4, 5 sons, and all the grandsons would be exempt. They had the most skin in the game, but didn't have to fight to keep their business going. So that's next on my movie for y'all. Watch that movie, because there's a scene where he breaks down who exactly was fighting for the Confederacy, and it was not the men with the most skin in the game. The ones who had the most interest in preserving the Confederacy didn't have to fight. And I'm just saying it. So that's my movie tangent. Back to these numbers. Assuming every ship, and that was the point, the 300-person plantation was rare. And so were these 300-person ships. But let's just say every ship had a 300-person capacity. Let's just say that. I ran the numbers. So, okay, 1808, was the import of people from Africa was made illegal, to minus 1619, the year that the first Africans were documented coming here. That's 187 years. So you had 187 years to bring over 12 million Africans. And I don't know, and see, and that's another thing. Did that 12 million include just these United States? Or did it include the United States, the Caribbean, Central and South America? Somebody help me. Tell me, because I don't know if that was ever clarified. I think us, quote unquote, black people living in the U.S., we're supposed to believe that 12 million Africans, or 12 and a half, I'm trying to go conservative. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I went 12 million even though sometimes that number is 12 and a half. 12 million people in 187 years. Assuming each ship could carry 300 people, that's 40,000 ship trips. Not necessarily 40,000 ships, because if they're making a circle, it might take them a year to make the full round trip. But yeah, and I didn't want to go deeper. I didn't want to be like a ship a day, and which, was it New York or Baltimore or Charleston or New Orleans? They tend to get theirs from Saint Domingue, present day Haiti, present day Dominican. But hey, some of them probably could have been brought from up north too, or the Atlantic coast. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess trying to get all of this, because we know that there was Caribbean transport. Yeah. So it's a mess. Even with the numbers that are crunched, there's so many other outliers and factors, but the main point is hurricane season. You only got, even though I calculate 187 years, you got half the year to do it, or that water is going to wreck your ship. You got people, the people in Boston, they can tell you about a nor'easter. And here's the thing, hurricane season didn't start in 1866. There have always been hurricanes in the Atlantic Ocean. There have always been hurricanes. That means 1619, hey, 1492. Maybe Columbus got lost because he got swept up. I don't know. I don't know. But there's too many factors to be like, yeah, this is how it happened. The ships came straight across, and they all held 300 people. I mean, that's a lot of ship traffic. 40,000 ship trips. Whether it's circular or back and forth, it's a lot of trips. There's a lot of traffic, and there are no manifests. There are no journals. I mean, yeah, John Smith, John Rolfe, they had journals, but we don't have journals of anyone more recent from the ship manifest. We don't have shards of wood. Like, you know, British Museum of History, they have everything, but they don't have a shard of wood. So, yeah. And I did want to bring up, so see, I got everything. Checking my notes, y'all. That's why it's long, because I'm trying not to forget stuff. Yeah, there was a mother and son. I mean, I know, no, there still are. But there was a video. I saw a video. It was a few years ago. There was a video of a mother and son. Oh, shoot. Oh, Lord. They did their own research. They were Northeast. Probably New York, but I'm not sure. But there was a mother and son. I don't remember their names or their YouTube channel's name, but they did their own research. And they focused on the ships. And in their research, they found that most of the ships were really boats. I think the mom went into the kind of wood they were made with and the type of water that type of ship made with that type of wood worked best in. Like, she broke it down. Mama broke it down. And she found, no, baby, that's dangerous. That's so dangerous. She found that they were like 100-person ship, or they had a cargo capacity of 100 people. And they were made to like skim the coast. So they were like up and down the Atlantic coast, down to the Caribbean, as far south as the Caribbean. But they were made to skim the coast. They were not open water ships. Yeah, that's what she found. So 100 people at a time up and down the coast with a very specific type of wood. Yeah, so even in their own research, and they didn't even mention Dane Calloway. I think they were maybe doing their own family research. And, you know, they went off into the ships. What kind of ships were used? She broke down the wood, y'all. Like a very specific type of wood that was only found in the Northeast. And people, you know, who knew how to work it were the ones who were making these boats. Yeah, and it's not going to be, yeah, I can't even tell you how to look for it, except, you know, maybe look for like slave ship, I don't know. Maybe type in like a keyword search for like slave ship research, but look for a mother and son. And yeah, they broke it. Their own research, they were like, these were coastal, up and down the North Atlantic coast. Hey, I'm not going to dispute their research. You know, they did their thing and that's what they found. So yeah, the numbers, I got B's in math. I wasn't an A student in math, but it don't make sense, y'all. It does not make sense. 40,000 ship trips and not a single manifest, not a single journal, not a single shard of wood. I don't care if you can't give me the whole, I mean, I would like the whole ship, but I wouldn't expect the whole ship, you know, over 200 years old to still be preserved. But yeah, somebody talk to me. Talk to me. And yeah, my numbers don't add up. I'm sorry. Take care.